Okay. Last time we talked about the 4 different definitions of the pshat, remez, drush, and sod of Modeh Ani, and then we also spoke about the 5th level, which was Chassidus, the Chassidus take on Modeh Ani, and what it was. And then we said that what we're going to do is we're going to look at different interpretations, how Chassidus looks at the pshat, how Chassidus looks at the remez, all 4 levels. So we had 5, like 4 regular, and then 1 Chassidus on its own, and then we're going to look at how if you use the lens of Chassidus to look at the first 4, you can see those same 4 explanations in a totally different light. So even though we explain them one way according to the pshat, according to the remez, the drush, the sod, we're now going to look at those from the same levels, but with a lens. So it's not like you're changing what you're looking at, you're just wearing different glasses, okay? So it's going to kind of stay, the original definitions are not going to change. It's just the ramifications of that are going to change. So we kind of left in the middle of this, and we're just going to keep it going. So if anyone has questions about recap or what we said before, how we got here, then please ask away, okay? All right, so as we saw in the pshat, when we looked at the pshat of Modeh Ani, we're saying that Chassidus is not going to add another explanation to the pshat, because the pshat is the pshat, right? That we're thanking Hashem for restoring our soul. That's the pshat of Modeh Ani. Hashem, you took it, we went to sleep, it was the 60th of death, and now you're giving it back to us. So now what is Chassidus going to add on to that or clarify that doesn't change the definition, it just looks at it through a different lens. So here's what it says. The Chassidic explanation is saying, the fact that we are modeh to Hashem, we're acknowledging to Hashem that He gave us back our soul. So we said before that the Chassidic explanation is that the only reason we're even thanking you for giving us back a neshama is because you're giving us back our Jewish neshama. I don't know if you remember from the last one, but that if you gave us a neshama that wasn't ours, we wouldn't even want it because we wouldn't even consider that life. So the only thing, so Chassidus came to say, yeah, all of these things are nice, but the Modeh Ani aspect from Chassidus is that this is our soul specifically, and that's what's important to us. That's why we're saying, She'achazalta bi nishmati, my soul specifically, and that's why you're giving thanks. And now Chassidus is going to explain all these different things to show how the different lens of you can look at the same thing through a different lens, and it can mean something completely different. Okay, so when we look at the remez, what we said before, that the hinted allusion version of Modeh Ani is that the fact that Hashem gives us back our neshama every single day is an allusion to the fact that He's going to give us our neshamas at the time of Tchiyas HaMesim. So the daily Modeh Ani is like, hey, because you stayed faithful and gave us back our souls every day, we also believe that one day you're going to give everyone back their souls and their bodies at the time of Tchiyas HaMesim, right? That's what we said, right? Without Chassidus, that would feel very remote. That wouldn't even make much sense, right? Death is just sleep is just 1/60th of death. So how are you going to take that stretch, right? If something was close, like if sleep was half of death, a 30th, look, 30 out of 60, you could say, well, sleep is pretty close to death. And because He gave us this, so He's going to give us that. It's like saying, oh, well, you gave me $1 today, and because you give me $1 every day, I feel like one day you're going to give me $1 billion, right? Like, that's a very big leap, right? Like, okay, maybe I can believe that you're going to give me $1 every day for a lot more days. That's feasible. Or maybe one day you're going to increase it to $2 or $5. But like, isn't it a little bit of a stretch? Like, how are we going to say, oh, you gave me $1 every day, and that alludes to one day you're going to give me $1 billion? Like, that doesn't even make much sense, right? Like, a 60th is not even a lot. Like, you're not really restoring my soul to like the original.
More than half.
What? 1/60th?
Oh, 1/60th.
Yeah. If you split death into 60, one of that would be, what did you think it was?
I'm literally
Oh, 60%.
Oh my God, you were dead. 1/60th.
I have no idea. That's a solid question. But if you said that I took a deep sleep, and you're like, oh, I was in a deeper sleep now than I was before. If there's 60 levels of deep sleep, where the 60th is where your whole body stops and your neshama leaves your body, then actual regular sleep is 1/60th of that depth. That's a solid question. I could look that up for you and find out what the other 58 in between are like.
There's different types of sleep, like REM sleep.
Right, but they probably all fall under the category of the 160th. I doubt that changes.
No, it's levels of consciousness more than sleep. Like someone who's unconscious is more closer to death than someone who's sleeping.
Right. Yeah.
Who's based on the conscious level.
So, and furthermore, if you look at what happens at Tchias HaMesim versus what happens right now when you get your body doesn't die just because you're sleeping. Like, your soul is still connected to your body, right? It's just that there's like...
Are dreams like a 60th of Nebuah? If like death is a 60th of...
Not your dreams, but other people's. Yeah.
Well, also depending on like when in the night you have.
What?
My dad was very into dreams.
Yeah.
And he would always say like depending on when in the night, like dreams in the morning right before you wake up, like have
If
a
you
little bit of
remember them?
Nebuah in them.
That's how you know if the
Yes.
But other dreams are more just your
The ones like
subconscious, what
closer to
happened.
when you wake up. Yeah. Or like people say that if you see a tzaddik in your dream, it can't happen unless that tzaddik wanted to be in your dream. So like,
Really?
yeah. So like you could think of a tzaddik all day long for every single day. And unless he wants to visit you, you can't force yourself to see him. Like, whereas if you thought about Ninja Turtles all day, you would just dream about Ninja Turtles, right? So,
Is it Tzaddik the only thing?
yeah,
I don't think about that when the guys come up from the grave from 770.
right.
Do you know that?
You guys see it? The guys come out from the grave. All of a sudden, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Oh, you're talking about Ninja Turtles.
That's right.
Okay, I thought you were talking about Tzaddikim, not Ninja Turtles. So sleep is just like you're restricting that reconnect is just reconnecting the soul with the body, right? But at the time of Tchias HaMesim, the soul and the body itself change. It's not just that there's a reconnection. It's not like your body is here. Like it says that at the time of Mashiach, like there's only one bone that after like, there's something called chibut hakever, which is like a punishment, basically where like it's difficult for your neshama to see your body decompose. It's like a punishment for the neshama to like cleanse the neshama from this world. It's hard because it's like, hey, I've been driving that car for 80 years and now I have to see it like kind of fall apart. It's a difficult thing to see. So, but there's one bone, it's the tailbone, that remains, and that's what the body gets rebuilt from at the time of Mashiach. So not only is like your soul coming back to your body, but all these people who were deceased prior to Mashiach's arrival, their bodies don't even exist. So at the time of Mashiach, it's like, well, we're going to have our souls reconnect, but also our bodies are going to change and our bodies are going to be rebuilt. And on top of that, at the time of Mashiach, we will be able to see with our physical bodies, we said we'll be able to see Hashem here physically with these physical eyes. Hashem won't be a belief. Like right now, you see with your mind, right? Your mind knows Hashem is here, so you can justify and rationalize certain things and be like, well, Hashem's clearly here, and I know that because I learned about it. And my eye inside my brain can see that. But at the time of Mashiach, we're all going to be able to see with our physical eyes, which means not only will our neshamas come back, but our bodies themselves will actually undergo some sort of fundamental change, right? So even furthermore, it's like, it's cute, you want to say, Mr. Remez on the Torah, like if you look from that perspective, that Tchias HaMesim is going to happen, and we're aware of that because Hashem gives us our neshama every day when we go to sleep. It's like, dude, this is stretching, right? Like, just relax. Like that clearly can't be a good quality comparison where you learn one thing from the next, right? It's like the $1 a day versus the billion. Hi. Okay. And and like we said, at the time of Mashiach, the one little bone, the tailbone that still exists in the grave, is going to be used to resurrect the entire body. The rest of the body is going to reconstruct. As a result, your neshama at the time is also going to evolve at the time. It'll like be built and evolve, because as the body evolves, the neshama will evolve in order to go into it. So when it comes to this illusion of that we sleep, Hashem gives us back our soul, so now we believe that he's going to give us Tchias HaMesim, that's like not a great representation normally. Like, even though this is his own take on, hey, what is the remez on that? He's not coming back to be like, that's kind of a weak argument, except what does Chassidus come to show you that actually ties that together and makes it work? The Torah comes to explain, even when the time that the neshama comes back, it's not just that the soul is reconnecting with the body like it does every single night, but the renewal that happens is not just this connection between soul and body, but it's actually like a regeneration. Your body regenerates, your soul regenerates, which is why that happens to us every single day. By looking at what happens in Tchias HaMesim, we can look at what happens to us every day, not the other way around. You would think and say, okay, well, if we look at what happens every day and we know sleep is a 60th of death, then we can look at Mashiach and be like, oh, okay, well, this is what happens now, this is what happens later. But Chassidus very clearly explains that at the time of Mashiach, this is what's going to happen to your neshama and your body. So by looking at the end result, like we did before, by looking at the end, you can look at the beginning, right? I don't know if you guys even remember, but very early on in this essay, we talked about that the way to figure out the value of something is to look at its reward, right? To look at the essence of something, you have to figure out what the reward is. And for us, the way we were looking at explaining what Chassidus is, we had to look at the reward of Chassidus, which we said was Mashiach. So Chassidus is coming now, the Chassidic perspective on the hint is saying, guess what? Let's look at the end. Instead of looking at the beginning of the fact that we get our souls every single day and say, well, this must be what's going to happen in Mashiach. Let's look at what happens in Mashiach and figure out what happens to us every day as a result. So we're flipping them, we're inverting them. And as a result, what we're saying is, hey, our neshamas and our bodies are going to regenerate at the time of Mashiach. Therefore, if this is the 60th of what's going to happen then every single morning, our bodies and our neshamas are literally being recreated, which means that the neshama that you have today that Hashem gave back to you is actually renewed and brought into existence every single day. Now, there's a pasuk that everyone knows, which says, that Hashem recreates Bereshis every single day. Now, Hashem, why does it say that he does that? And we talked about this at one point, but just a little recap. When you create something from nothing, you can't, whatever you created can no longer exist unless you're constantly recreating it. Meaning, if I take this, I don't know, hot dog, and I make it into a, I don't know, some flower-shaped hot dog, right? Like I took one thing and I turned it into something else, right? Like I could take a tree and turn it into paper, right? Like I'm remolding one thing into the next, right? I can take plastic and make it into flowers. I can do all these different things. But what I can't do is take nothing and make it into something, because humans don't have the power to do that, right? Like only Hashem existed here by himself before there was anything but him. And then he said, okay, I want to allow other things to exist. But there was nothing that he could do at the time to say, okay, well, because I already have this, I'll just reshape it and restructure it, and now it's something else. There was nothing other than him. And therefore, when Hashem created, he created something from nothing. And that's hard to fathom because we're humans. We don't even understand how we could think of creating something from nothing because it's beyond our comprehension. It's just not something anyone could rationally understand. But the logic is that because Hashem creates that way, if I create something, let's say I make like a pottery thing, and I take my hand off of the spinning wheel, and now that vase exists. It doesn't need me to constantly be shaping it and holding it in place. It exists without me, right? It's free of me. Even your kids, right? You have kids, they come out, they need you for nurture, But once they're out, they live and breathe and eat and sleep and do whatever. They can do it without you, right? Technically, if you're gone, someone else can do it. Or if they're old enough, they don't even need you anymore, right? But when your existence is dependent on the fact that you were created from nothing, you weren't reshaped, then the only way for you to exist is if whatever created you constantly tells you to be recreated every single second, which means that every single one of us and everything that you see here as a constant is only here because Hashem is saying its name every single second, or else it would all cease to exist. Which means that when we say Modeh Ani and we look at this time of Mashiach and we're like, hey, let's look at the end result and figure out what that means for the today. We see that Hashem has to be creating us every single second anew. And so there's no such thing as anyone who believes that Hashem created the world and then pieced out doesn't understand how creation works, because it's simply impossible. If he took our world and changed it into something else, yeah, he could leave and it could stay. But the thing is that he created the world from nothing and everything in it from nothing. Therefore, all of those things that were nothing have to become something, and he has to give that life source, that force that gives it energy to exist, or else it all disappears.
So is that like the light that you said is in all of us? Is
The
that-
Yechida.
Yeah, is that?
So that's tied to him. That's the infinite light. And that is, you can't extinguish, because when he created us, he took from himself. It says that he blew life into our nostrils, right? It says Vayipach v'apav nishmat chaim, that he blew into man's, like he made a body, Adam's body, and then he blew a soul into his nostrils. But when you blow, if you're going to blow into something, where do you blow from? Like in your lungs. You have to take a deep breath and then you blow out, which means that anything I blow out has to come from within me. So when Hashem created us, he took from within himself and created us. But the way Hashem creates is very different than ours. His creation comes something from nothing, which means he has to constantly be blowing out the same way that he was at
Right,
first.
So is that the Yechida?
It is,
Well,
yes.
it's all of us in general. Every person, he's constantly saying every single thing.
Right, any creation, and there's a whole question about how does the world still exist on Shabbos if Hashem rested on Shabbos? And so there's different modalities of his creation where it exists in a different elevated state, or the stuff that he set up on,
1/60th
on- yeah, there you go, on autopilot, that's
Does he do his own prep on
Shabbos,
Friday?
I got
He
this.
prep for Shabbos, Hashem does his prep for Shabbos.
the world kind of switches gears on Shabbos.
Graham Tovim, you're saying the same thing?
Yeah. There's a lot, there's like a lot that can be said about this, and we could probably study that one day. But basically, the world exists in two modalities. There's like the light switches that are in your house and the grid that's running electricity through the whole place, right? And technically, the one that turns on and off the lights in your house, that doesn't run on Shabbos. It's all set on timers, because Hashem has his nature, the stuff that just the sun rises and it sets. But the fact that the master grid has to stay on, or else it all ceases to exist, means that every single second we're being recreated, even on Shabbos. And also, anyone who doesn't believe in Hashgacha, in divine providence, that every single thing to the most minute detail in your life is not happening as a result of what Hashem wants, is simply denying Bereshis. You're denying creation, because it's more than saying like anyone who says God came and then he created and he doesn't care what happens in the minutia. He doesn't care about the details, doesn't understand how God creates. Because once you understand how God creates, it's simply impossible. If I have to be constantly saying your name every single second for you to exist, then that means I'm thinking about you all the time. That means I'm focused on what you're doing, right? Like if you had to deliver a baby all day, every single day for your baby to exist, like how could you be focused on anything else? And how could anyone say that you're not actively involved in that baby's life? Like it's simply unfathomable. But people don't feel that because Hashem created this curtain system where we don't feel the fact that we can't hear him saying our name or blowing our souls into our bodies through our nostrils. Like we don't. He set it up in a way where it's veiled. You don't feel that. But the remez, the hinted illusion of the fact that we're going to look at this time of that we're going to say Modeh Ani every day and be like, Hashem, what Chassidus is coming to say is when you say Modeh Ani, it's cool to be like, hey, I woke up, you gave me my soul back, and one day you'll restore all the bodies and neshamas in this world in Tchias HaMesim. But it's even cooler to be like, guess what? I know that you're involved in every single aspect of my day because you renew me every single day from scratch. That's literally what happened. It's not like he adds on to you. It's not like he evolves you. You are new every single second, or else you would be gone. There's no way to be old in this world. Your creation is happening every single second, because that's the only way. It's called yesh ma'ayin. That's the only way to create something from nothing. Once you pull the plug and it's not actively on, it doesn't matter how many light switches are on in the house. You don't have electricity, right? So, and regarding to the Yechida, which is exactly what you said, how do you feel this constant creation? Only through revealing your Yechida. When you feel the infinite connection to Hashem, that essence, because the 4 levels of Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Chaya, remember I said there's 5 levels of the Neshama, and the Yechida is the 5th one. Those 4 levels are bound by the 4 worlds of creation, Asiya, Yetzira, Bria, and Atzilus. And those things all, even though some are higher levels and some parts of Torah like the Kabbalah, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, are much deeper than the more shallow levels, they're still limited in what they are. But and because they're limited, creation within them is limited. The things are finite. So anytime your parts of your neshama are accessing even really high levels, if those levels of Torah are limited, then even if it's a really big house, you can count the square footage. Like until it's an infinite house where you can no longer count, you can't. That doesn't tie into your yechida of your neshama. So when you constantly feel this level of the yechida, which transcends all of the worlds because it's infinite, there's no comprehension. You can't compare. I've said this a million times. You can't compare a billion to an infinite, right? It's one is endless, and literally every time you create all of this stuff in this world that seems grand, right? And you know that what's creating it, what's giving it life, Hashem's infinite light, you know that all of the stuff in here is just finite and meaningless. You're aware that it's constantly being recreated all the time, every single second for you, right? Because the system that Hashem wanted, he created once and he creates it every single second. So on this level of Yechida where you transcend all the worlds, you can be aware of the fact that every single thing you look at is receiving that constant life force every single second from where? From the Yechida, from the Chassidus, from the innermost part of the Torah, the essence of Hashem, the part that's infinite. Because if it was receiving sustenance from the finite parts, then it wouldn't even be able to exist. It has to be recreated all the time. Okay? So now we're going to look at the Drush, the 3rd level, the homiletic interpretation. Okay. So we're looking at something in the Gemara. Okay. Ha'isur la'akev pikadon be'ad ha'chovot shel ha'mafkid. If you look at this prohibition, there's a prohibition in the Torah that if someone gives you like collateral, and we said this before, like that, we talked about the drush that interpretation of Modeh Ani is that, hey, Hashem, we owe you a whole bunch and we'll never be able to repay you. But we say Modeh Ani because technically we're the guarantor and you hold the collateral, which is our neshama. And every day, even though we owe you, you give it back to us, right? I don't know if you remember, we said that a couple times, last time, that, hey, no one is, Hashem is not indebted to you, and if you want to go by a reward system and be like, hey, look at all my zchuyos, look at all my merits, Hashem, you should give me my neshama back because look how wonderful I am. Technically, if we all existed because of what we deserve, then no one would exist, right? Because you can't. But because Hashem has infinite mercy, he says, okay, I'm not going to withhold your neshama. Yeah, you don't deserve it on paper, but who cares? I love you. You're my kids, right? I'll give it back to you. So that was the outlook of the drush, and technically that really doesn't make sense. Like it's not so comprehensible. So all of the things that he said before were really good explanations, and as you can see, one by one, he's picking them apart and saying, those are cool, but without Chassidus, they literally make no sense because I'm going to prove to you why they're dumb, right? And literally, he's like, okay, well, that doesn't make any sense because when you have a creditor and a debtor, right? If you deposit something and you give it to someone and you entrust that article or whatever, when someone can't possibly ever get back what they lent you, you could never repay them. Their only thing to do is to seize it, right? Like if I give you my watch and you give me $10,000 and I'm like, I'm telling you right now, there's no way you will ever see that money ever. There's nothing I can do. I'll never work a day in my life. No one's going to give me money. What do you do? What you're supposed to take that watch. Like that's part of the deal. There's kosher. There's nothing wrong with it. What you're not doing anything wrong where you're able to obtain what's yours, right? Like you can take it, right? That's what the Gemara says. So we're gonna say that here in this case, and I'll just read it so we get it exact. Because this person, the depositor, owes the lender money. He has no way to ever pay him back. When this person has an opportunity to take back, because there's no other way to collect his debt, when this person has an opportunity to take it, he should take it. And how is this different to something that, in this case, something that was stolen from you, right? Like if I stole $10,000 from you and never gave you collateral, right? And I never gave you that watch, and I can recover it from you, right? Like if you went to Beis Din and you said, this guy stole $10,000 from me, they say, well, did he give you collateral? You'd be like, no, he stole it from me. They'll be like, okay, well, what I can do, because you stole the money from me, is I can tell you to go to someone else and buy that $10,000 from that person and give it back, right? Like the Jewish court system says that. It really doesn't make any sense. It's like Hashem should be able to say, guys, in my Torah, where you guys, the Gemara, you guys sat down and defined the fact that legally, if someone doesn't pay you back, you have the right and you should take the collateral. You should keep it because this person stole from you. That's halacha. That's not you doing something wrong. What, Hashem doesn't stick to his own halachos? Like, it's his halachos. He's the one who said that this is what you do when that's the case, right? So we're trying to understand how that even makes sense. Why?
He made us in a way that none of this is in our control. He takes our neshama, we give it back to him. How do we repay him for giving it back to us? He didn't make us that we don't need sleep. I mean, he made me, I don't need sleep. I'm just saying in general, he doesn't make people that they don't. He literally made us in a way that we need sleep. So you made us in a way that we need sleep. You take back the neshama during that sleep, and then when we get it back, we're so indebted that you made us in a way that wasn't even up to us, how you made us. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, you wouldn't be indebted if you were perfect.
I mean, but everybody else.
You wouldn't be, if you're perfect, then you would know more purpose in this world.
Your purpose might be for other people.
Oh, once you're perfect, your purpose is to like help other people. That
Why
makes
not?
So much sense.
Why would tzaddikim be here otherwise?
They're not
Yeah.
saying-
They're not perfect, so I think I'm not perfect.
There are perfect tzaddikim.
Really?
Yes.
We always learn about people die once. they're
That's what I'm
perfect.
saying.
Like, They have
She
no.
Well, welcome
Christopher
to the new
was
age.
Yeah, I'm
It's
like,
not
what?
based out
Yeah,
of
not
anymore.
purchasing deep in the water.
Yeah, Christopher
Oh, you're right,
yeah.
We got some there,
Rabbi
like,
Preston
give us
said.
some money with that,
No,
whatever
it's-
it's called. What's that thing that they're trying to
No, it's
raise money
perfect.
for, the national, whatever it's called,
Yeah,
you know,
that.
for Israelis?
There's
Like, some people are like
there's
this.
been plenty, and I could
perfect
list.
people?
Yes.
Yeah, like who?
Moshe
I
Rabbeinu.
think
Oh.
he still, I thought he still,
still had flaws.
he still did things wrong.
What,
Yeah,
like
he
the
did.
hitting of the rock?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll learn that, and you'll see that he really didn't.
And then didn't he?
If you learn the
with his
ch-
mouth-
if-
Yeah.
If you learn the
His
Chassidus
speech.
on it, you'll see
No.
that he didn't.
What about his?
Well, we can learn it all. You'll see.
People question about Mary.
Okay, but
What?
that wasn't the point I was saying. I was literally saying, did you not hear what I said?
Yeah, but Mickey, you also didn't choose. God chose for you to be here. You didn't choose to be here. So
Whatever, but again,
He's saying
let's say
I just
I
don't
made
understand
this
it.
floor arrangement. Okay? I
You
made
made
it.
it.
I chose how it was made.
It should
Right?
be indebted to you for existing.
Right, but it can't do anything. I mean, like, it doesn't have the power to do anything to me. really.
Brings more customers to you.
Oh, Christopher, this is a bad example. I need a better example. But does anyone understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You got
Hashem
me?
made us in a way that we need sleep.
That we need
Why
sleep.
we need
And
sleep.
Why
then
is
you're
sleeping-
saying
There's an animal
we
that
need
don't
sleep.
sleeping is
right?
not a sin. What's
They're
wrong with
It's
sleeping?
not a sin, but
Okay,
it's saying
but why would
we
turning
got
your
our
neshama
neshama
away?
back.
Right?
Yes, we got our neshama back, but I would have held on to it. It's not my fault I had to give a 60th away to go to sleep.
Right,
but
but
He made
the
us in a way that we
but
have
the
to
whole
sleep.
principle is that when he gives it to you, he's saying, "I'm giving it to you here in this body.
Right?
You already own your neshama. He gave it to you. You existed before he brought you
Right,
down to
right,
this
right,
world,
right.
right? He comes to you and is like, I think you can fulfill this mission. You should go into this body." And
Right.
Hashem was like, "No, I really don't want to. It's so fun up here." And Hashem's like, "Okay, you're going down, right?"
Right.
So once you're in the body, the fact that he restores you back to your connection of your body, we're not talking about your neshama on its own existence. Like if you don't say Modeh and Gan Eden, right?
Right.
It's still our neshamas. We're still in Gan Eden as our neshamas, right?
Right.
We're saying thank you that you restored the connection to us down here in this body so we could fulfill our mission. You're acting like he's saying
Right.
what?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, but why
I'm
are
still
we
on the same
grateful
page
for
as you.
that? You get another chance.
Right.
Because it's
Why is our neshama?
because 1 hour here is worth an entire eternity up there. Is more
Because
valuable.
we have opportunities to do mitzvahs. Once you die, you can't do any mitzvahs.
Right. So it's
So
like,
every
hey,
second here is an opportunity to do a mitzvah.
and also when like the top general sends you out to war, like no one wants to go to war, but when you're representing the general and you know you're doing what the general sent you to do, like it's empowering that you're on this mission for him, right? Like once you're back home, you could be cool with the general because you did your job, but like you're not actively in the field doing what he wants. Like a lot of people, if you have some really rich person, super gazillionaire, and that person says, "Come, I want you to be my right-hand man, right? I want you to go do stuff for me." It might be that you're doing stupid chores, but you feel really good because you're working with that guy, right? Like a lot of people feel like that, you know? So when that guy is Hashem and you're fulfilling his mission, then there's that feeling. Like the Malachim are just so happy to serve Hashem because they recognize and can see him. So being part of his task force that's all they want. We don't really feel that. But I'm just saying that when Neshama comes down here and does what it has to do, though it wants to be up there in the castle with Hashem, it also understands the honor of being tasked with serving him.
It feels like it's like our physical body that is supposed to be grateful every day. Like,
Right.
or like it feels like
It's
like,
hard
right,
to
right.
differentiate the who you are
Yeah.
between your physical and your neshama because you can't really feel the difference. Really, your neshama just has, even though your neshama has 5 levels, it has 2 parts as a Jew. You have your godly soul and your animal soul, right? And they work within your body to, your animal soul is like in your blood and your godly soul is like kind of what dwells in your brain and like it does what Hashem wants. So like a Jew's animal soul is holy also. So even the body of a Jew wants to do what Hashem wants, but it has all these desires and weights that are holding it down and all this stuff. You as a whole right now, like the same you that understands and is sitting here and is going through this world is the same you that would be in Gan Eden, right? You just don't have a body to do it. So it's not like your body, it's like your essence. You just right now you only know it in a certain capacity because you live down here.
In Gan Eden, we
right?
don't have a body, but when Mashiach comes, we do have a body.
Yeah, that's the whole
And do we have the
purpose.
same body? And do we choose what age the body is?
I think like some people get like a lot fatter, but
Wait, but also
Yeah.
I think, like with, to go along with
He's lying,
Vicky's
but we
question,
don't
what
know
you
it.
started
Who's
this year
there
with
making
a
that
bunch of
anyway?
weeks ago, when you talked about like how gratitude is like a core thing in Judaism, right?
Yeah.
You were saying that? I think a big part of like us being indebted to Hashem is like a lesson for us to be better people here. Like you have to do gratitude. Like you have to know how to be grateful for everything, and like
Yeah.
he doesn't have to. You don't have to thank him. He's gonna do what God's gonna do what God does.
right.
But it's a lesson for us to be grateful to him. Like I think it's for our spirituality and for our growth.
There's definitely that. This whole thing is that. The gratitude that we're feeling though is also an awareness that Hashem, not only did you give me back my neshama, but you actually recreate me every single second. For me, it's empowering. Like Hashem, you're involved in every single second of my life. Like it's not just you made me and now like I'm supposed to be good. Like so many people have this like mentality that it's like it's me versus Hashem. He has his rules. Do I follow them? Do I not follow them? Am I good? Did I make him happy? Did I not make him happy? But like if you feel that he was like, I don't know, think about parents, right? Like you grow up, you move on, and you're in touch with them, but like you're not with them every single day. But like if you felt like they were giving you life every single second, like you would have the most amount of gratitude ever, right? Like you would feel that you're still tied to your mother's umbilical cord. Like there's no, you eat from her, you whatever, right? Like you breathe from her, you do everything from her. You couldn't disconnect. You could never feel that she's not a part of you, right? Like, so when you know this level of Modeh, that, hey, forget like the being indebted, but like the fact that Hashem's recreating you every single second, it's yes, it gives you gratitude,
It should be
But-
empowering.
but you also know that
One more
you're never
thing.
alone.
One more.
And also it ties into the Teflon.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because you have to be always reliant on it.
Anyone who thinks that something that he's not with you
Right.
doesn't understand creation.
Right.
Okay.
Well, like what you said about, remember you were telling me like about children being here from divorced parents, and how like Hashem literally chose these people. They're so special that he put people who shouldn't have been together to create this child, because this child had to be here. That's something that Mickey told me. So that's literally the same thing. Hashem's choosing us every second that we need to be here, that we should be grateful for that. Like it should be empowering to you that you deserve to be here every second he's choosing.
Yeah, the fact that you're still here
Here's my
means you
only,
have a
like,
purpose,
naysay on
and
it.
he's with you in the purpose.
Right.
My only like naysay on it is like, let's say I say to you, I think you're so amazing. But oh my gosh, that's so nice. Mickey thinks she's so amazing. But then you hear me go, and I think you're so amazing, and I think you're so amazing, and I think you're so amazing.
Right,
and
but
then you
it-
find out that I went to like 50,000 people.
Okay,
and
but
I'm
in
like,
fairness,
hey.
you didn't create the world, so no one cares if you think you're amazing.
I can't give a finger to a cheer.
I'm saying if you were the greatest thing
No.
ever and you gave life to
Okay,
everything,
I'm sorry.
I wouldn't care if you told 1 billion people. You're the
Because
creator.
every person has a different tafkid. Like that's
No,
not
but-
No, I hear
but
that,
even-
but it's
but
kind of like
even-
I'll see this like
You're
somebody and I'm
thinking of a
like, oh.
human. You're thinking of
Not
a
a-
human person, and you're comparing Hashem to a human. And yeah,
No,
great. If a
right, I'm
human
saying
told you
it's
that
a-
you're
It's a
amazing,
hard thing to sit back and be like,
you want to feel
but he
unique,
also created that guy and
Right.
that guy, and he's constantly creating that guy, and he's constantly creating
right?
that.
But you're
person.
also a Jew, so you're unique among the population of the world.
Okay, but I'm saying, but I
He-
really
he
only know
didn't-
Jews.
He-
But don't you feel grateful that he chose to keep
I'm just like devil's advocate.
Should get out there more.
I'm just like devil's advocate
Mickey,
here.
who else is doing
Chill.
Ultra florals? He needed you to do that.
I know. Could you believe that?
Right.
Trust me,
So
we figured out my topic.
we're all here to do different things. So even if you
Yeah.
think
What's gonna happen when I die?
You're not supposed to tell him.
And 120 you made Shem.
No, I don't want to be there.
Really? What do you want?
Because my
And
body's
healthy.
gonna decompress.
And
Stop.
healthy.
Whatever. I give you work. I don't care.
I'll be plastic at that point. It's fine. Continue. Sorry.
Are we done devil's advocating?
Right, I was just like
Okay.
making a point, guys. I'm so sorry.
Okay. So how does Chassidus look at this whole thing? Which is that if someone has collateral and the person doesn't pay him back who borrowed from him, he should be able to seize it Why does Hashem not take that same perspective with us? So Chassidus comes to explain the following, that the whole principle of all the commandments, right? We said before Pesach that there's edot, chukim, and mishpatim. There's the rational, the logical ones, the ones we can understand somewhat, and the ones that really make no sense to us, that are just Hashem's will, and that's why we do them. Even the ones that are rational, that we can understand, you have to fulfill them in a way where you're only doing them because it's what Hashem wants, right? So like a halacha might make sense to you, a mitzvah might make sense, but you're doing it because you accept, you have Kabbalah soul, you accept that this is how Hashem wants it done, right? So it doesn't really make a difference to you if you're doing Shiluach HaKan or you are doing making a bracha on food. It's like making a bracha on food makes sense. Okay, Hashem made me food and now I have gratitude, so I want to say thanks, so I'm not stealing from you. Okay, I got it, resonates, all good. Tzedakah is really nice because you help other people who don't have, and technically we're spiritually broke, so Hashem gives us when we need, right? It makes a lot of sense. But for us, when you do those mitzvahs, you should be able to be doing those things not because they make sense to you, but because they're Hashem's will, just like the other things that actually make no sense, that are super rational, right? So it should make no difference. And so what we're going to say, that since because every single mitzvah, the whole purpose of it is that it's what Hashem wants, right? It doesn't matter why. Those things are nice and you should learn about them, but because it's all his will, right? So therefore, same way that it's impossible to say that Hashem exists for some other purpose other than the mitzvahs, right? That God's will and he and his will are one. So when I want something, what I want doesn't mean that that's me, but what Hashem wants is him. So the Rambam says that Hashem and his desires, his will, are all one, okay? Figure out how to understand that, but Rambam says that he and his will are one. And therefore, Hashem's mitzvahs are actually his essence, right? And so when you're saying, hey, Hashem's wisdom, his knowledge, his Torah, he and the Torah are one. He contracted himself into a book, and that's why that book is so holy, because you're holding him, right? Or his mitzvahs, the 613 commandments. When you are doing those mitzvahs just for the end purpose, which is the mitzvahs themselves, then it's not just about how you benefit, it's about restoring the entire purpose, right? And the act of restoration, or Hashem giving us back our neshama every single day, even though we owe him. Technically, we all owe him. The fact that he doesn't take it from us is because he has this mitzvah to restore. He wants to restore the world because Hashem follows his own mitzvahs. And we have a mitzvah to restore the world back to the original order that it was before the chet of Adam and Chava, because the world was perfection. And we have a mitzvah to restore that world. That's the whole purpose of the world. That's the whole purpose of Mashiach. That's why Hashem created this whole thing. So the fact that, yeah, Hashem could technically say, I'm going to hold you to this law. I am going to take your neshama back and not give it back to you because you owe me, and that's the halacha, and that's fine. Hashem's like, guys, that's true. But you know what? I look past that because I'm giving you your neshama back, lishma. I'm giving to you for the ultimate purpose. And so it doesn't matter that that's what it says. The end goal here is for you to do mitzvahs. And as a result of that, I'm giving you your neshama back the same way I gave you my mitzvahs, because I built this whole system so that because I desired for you to do mitzvahs, and without you here, even if you don't deserve it, my mitzvahs are my desires and my desires are me. And because I wanted to bring me into this world, and that's how I make it perfect, the only way to make it perfect is for you to do mitzvahs down here. I'm gonna look past and just do it lishma. What's Hashem's lishma? That he give us a way to make these mitzvahs, so to do these mitzvahs, fulfill these mitzvahs here, not just for his benefit, but for our benefit, right? And therefore, when we do mitzvahs, Chassidus on the homiletic explanation on the drush is saying, guys, you can do mitzvahs all day long because they make sense to you. Just like Hashem could take your neshama back because it makes sense to him that you owe him. But he's doing this one for you. And when you do your mitzvahs, you should do it for him. Yes, they might make sense to you, but remember, Hashem put you in this world and created the whole world because he wanted a way he enjoyed the fact that Jews would come into this dark, lowly world and do mitzvahs. And so he created a world and he put you in it and he gave you a Torah and he gave you a way to find those mitzvahs. And as a result, he's doing all of that for you because you know what? He was chilling without you. He was chilling without all of this. And he did it for our sake. He created the world for the sake of the Jew and for the sake of the Jew to be able to do mitzvahs. So when Chassidus comes and looks at this explanation, Chassidus is saying, guys, just like Hashem doesn't look at the details, and he could look on paper and say, you don't deserve your soul back today. Hashem says, guys, this one's for you. You get it anyway. And when we do our own mitzvahs, and we can say, this mitzvah makes a lot of sense to me, I'm going to do it. How about you say, this mitzvah is for Hashem. I don't care that it could make sense. Yes, there are some that don't make sense. I do all mitzvahs not because I'm keeping score, right? I'm not keeping score with you, Hashem. Like one of the first things I was ever told at my heard this at 48 Ufros was don't keep score. Like you did dishes one night, don't say, well, I did them last night, you do them this night, right? Like Hashem is literally saying, guys, I don't keep score with you. Why are you keeping score with me? Chassidus is coming and saying, guys, do you not realize he doesn't keep score? Like you're sitting here being like, you owe me, you owe me, you owe me. This mitzvah doesn't make sense to me. This mitzvah makes sense to me.
So then how can we have like the audacity to ask Hashem for things when we're the one that he wants us to ask?
Because if you recognize that when you're asking, you're saying, Hashem, there is no source other than you. I could try to do this on my own, but I know that you ultimately are the source of all of it anyway. Like, it's an acknowledgement to Hashem that you recognize his presence and that he's the source. It's actually the opposite. It's not audacity. It's gratitude. It's acknowledgement. I know that I could go and work my butt off all day, and ultimately you are the source of my parnasa, right? I could be in the gym all day, but I'm not healthy unless you decide that, right? Asking Hashem is not hey, I'm greedy. It's, Hashem, guess what? I could do a million other things, but you control all of this anyway. And the Gemara in Tanis talks about that Hashem holds 3 different keys, and that those keys are, no one can hold more than one at a time because Hashem always has to have a majority, right? Acknowledging that he's holding the keys is not limiting. It's saying, Hashem, you're the only source, right? So here we're saying, guys, Chassidus is coming saying, guys, technically, if you want to keep score, you're all going to lose. But Hashem doesn't play that game. Hashem says, guys, I don't keep score with you. You don't deserve your soul, but I don't keep score. So maybe my stuff doesn't have to make that much sense to you. But you're just doing it because you don't keep score with me either, right? That's the Chassidus.
What's the point then?
Of what?
Like if we're here for us to do the mitzvahs, like Hashem could just make us perfect.
What?
Like,
That's
He
not.
purposely doesn't.
That's not fun for him.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like it just like
It says that he created the world because he
What?
desired a dwelling place down here, because Hashem enjoys watching us find him.
That's weird to say.
Tell him. What do you want
so
from me?
it's
I
for
don't know.
him. It's not for us.
When
He
the way he
likes
created
to
the system was that when we do
Wants us to-
what happens, he gives us 613 ways to be closer to him, and then we
I'd
benefit.
have to be closer to him, not to find doing the closer and
Well, when you
When I
find
say
someone you're
find
closer to
him-
you
He
get
could
just
just,
bring
he
us
could just
closer.
make us perfect, and we could just be perfect and do mitzvahs. And
Why would he
Well,
need to
then,
create a
like-
world for that? He could have done that without
Well,
the
then
world.
why would it is
Well,
for
Mashiach
him?
would have.
But why would he want Mashiach to come then?
Because
If
he
you-
wanted to
Isn't
come
it so much
live
better
down
when you
here with
work for
us.
it?
Yeah, but if he
It's
wants
not
He
his gift,
enjoyed-
it's not his
But
gift.
if
make us
everything's
closer
gonna
to
be
him, like,
perfect,
he
why
could
not
have
just
made it
for
for
him?
him.
But that'll have been our
Yeah.
doing, not his.
Okay,
But then it's
then-
not the same
but it's
thing.
still
He
gonna-
wanted it
It's
to be
not-
perfect,
it's
but he
not
wanted
them
us to
working
make it
towards
perfect.
It's just the happening.
You can do your kids' homework. You can do your kids' math homework.
Oh,
Or you
yeah,
can
totally
say,
don't
I
know
need you to
what-
figure this out, and when you do it, great. The math
He actually
homework
wants
gets
somebody
done
to
either
come back to
way.
ask the same
Right.
question.
You'll
But
get a good
I don't
break.
want to do the
Please get
homework
stuff
for
out,
you.
like-
That doesn't do
I
anything
know.
for me.
Like when you try to understand God and
Yeah,
you're like,
I
oh, so why can't I
just-
just understand God? I'm so with you. I hear that.
You're trying to say, you're asking questions of why Hashem enjoys certain things. If you
No, but then
can,
we're saying that like this is all for us, but it doesn't really feel like it is. Because if it was, then Hashem could just make us closer and he could just make us perfect. We could just redo it. Like
you
But
could
when
say,
skip
you could
all
say
this.
that,
Then we'd be like Malachim.
you could
great. So we
No, but the
like,
growth is in the work. Like it's.
Well,
you
why do we-
feel
why
much
do we-
better
I don't
about
know. I'm kind
something
of
when you
loving
work hard for
this.
something?
What?
Versus someone handing
I
it
like
to
what
you.
he did. I'm
But
loving
we
the
wouldn't even
situation.
You're liking
I'm
it.
here.
Okay.
I'm
He
here
does
for
like
it.
that.
okay.
I'm here for
He
it.
made us
Let's do
feel
this.
that way. Like, oh,
He
we worked,
could've
but like we could just be
Oh my
closer
gosh, I rubbed
at
it
like
on
the
my
end. Like,
I rubbed it so
I
hard.
hear that.
Guys, don't rub on this so hard. The entire thing comes right off.
refund.
Seriously? What's this
Sponsor.
for? What is happening? Don't rub. I rubbed the entire thing off. By the way, whoever takes this pregnancy test tonight, when you bring it home and it comes out positive, you have to name your baby after
Well,
me.
it's already blue, so.
Guys, and also, I just had to make an announcement that my very good friend had a baby girl and they named her after me. Did anyone hear what I just said?
No.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
after you.
I mean, that's the-
My friends had a baby girl and named her after me. And he saw me in show, like after he named, and he's like, "Are you okay?" Like he knew I would be okay.
What's the name?
Okay.
You know, Rocky and Taylor named their baby after me.
Okay, you're not Sephardi and you're a they, so.
Kirsty, what's my name?
Yeah.
What's my whole name?
You tell me, yeah.
And what's Rocky Dutton's baby's name?
What?
Who's she
Uh,
named after them?
No, it's something else.
Rila Henya.
Rila, okay, oh my god.
Shut your
Who's
face.
she named after?
Shut everyone now. That's like positive name association.